The rain hammered down on the cracked pavement like nails driven into a coffin. I stood there, filth coating my skin, my beard matted with grime, my clothes torn and reeking. Then I heard it, a voice so small, so pure, it shattered the world around me. Dad? The child couldn't have been more than 3 years old. Tiny fingers reached toward me through the crowd, eyes wide with innocent recognition. People stopped, stared, some with pity, others with disgust. A woman clutched her purse tighter. A man spat on the ground near my feet. But I couldn't move, because under this dirt, beneath this disguise, I was trembling. Not from the cold, not from hunger, from terror. The child took another step. Dad, it's me. My throat closed, my hand shook. Every instinct screamed to run, but my legs had turned to stone. How do you tell a child that the world has been lying, and so have you? 6 months earlier, I'd had everything. Adrian Cross, CEO of Cross Industries, penthouse views, private jets, my face on magazine covers with headlines like The Golden Touch and Billion-Dollar Visionary. But money doesn't buy loyalty. It only rents it. The night they took everything, I was in my office on the 47th floor. My brother Marcus walked in with my CFO, David Chen. Both wore expressions I'd never seen before. Cold, calculated, victorious. The board voted, Marcus said simply. You're out. I laughed, actually laughed. You can't vote out the founder. David slid a folder across my desk. We can when we have proof you've been embezzling, securities fraud, tax evasion, all documented, all signed with your digital signature. My blood turned to ice. That's impossible. Is it? Marcus leaned forward, and I saw something that broke me more than the accusations. Satisfaction. Pure, venomous satisfaction. You were always the brilliant one, Adrian. Always Dad's favorite. Always the golden child. But you were careless. You trusted me with your passwords, your access codes, your entire digital life. The room spun. The authorities will be here in 20 minutes. We're offering you one chance. Disappear. Tonight. Forever. Or face 30 years in prison for crimes you'll never be able to prove you didn't commit. The company is mine now, as it should have been from the start. I ran. Like a coward. Like a ghost. I emptied one secret account they hadn't found, $200,000 in cash I'd kept for emergencies. Then I vanished into the city's underbelly, where money meant nothing and survival meant everything. But you can't hide wealth completely. So I became what wealth fears most, a beggar. I let my beard grow wild, stopped bathing, tore my clothes, learned to sleep on cardboard, to eat from dumpsters, to disappear into the invisible masses society refuses to see. And it worked. For 6 months, I'd been a ghost haunting the streets where I once ruled from glass towers. Until this moment. Until this child called me Dad. Baby, no, a woman's voice cut through the rain. She burst through the crowd, her face pale with panic. Young, maybe 25, with eyes that had seen too much pain for her age. Her clothes were worn but clean, her hair pulled back in a hasty ponytail. Elena. My heart stopped for the second time in 60 seconds. She scooped up the child, a little girl with dark curls and those same haunting eyes. I'm so sorry, Elena gasped, addressing the crowd but not looking at me. She doesn't understand. She sees homeless people and thinks. Her voice cracked. She was crying. The little girl buried her face in her mother's shoulder. But Mama, he looks like the picture, like my dad. Every word was a knife. Elena's eyes finally met mine, just for a second. And in that second, I saw everything. Recognition, confusion, impossible hope, and then forced denial. She knew. Somehow, she knew. Come on, Lily, she whispered, turning away. "We need to go." But Lily twisted in her arms, reaching back toward me with both tiny hands. "Dad, don't go! Please don't go!" The crowd was staring. A police officer 2 blocks away turned his head. I did the only thing I could. I ran. That night, huddled under a bridge, I let myself remember. Elena Santos, marketing consultant. We'd met at a charity gala 3 years ago, one of those pretentious events where the wealthy congratulate themselves for caring. She'd been different, real. When I asked what she thought of the event, she'd said, "I think we're all drinking $1,000 wine while people starve 10 blocks away, but the shrimp is excellent." I'd fallen for her right there. We dated in secret. I hadn't wanted Marcus to know, hadn't wanted my personal life twisted into corporate politics. For 6 months, we'd stolen moments between my meetings and her projects. Then, I'd made a mistake. I'd gotten scared. Scared of what it meant to truly love someone when you had everything to lose. Scared that she loved my money more than me. Scared of vulnerability in a world where weakness meant destruction. So, I'd pushed her away. I'd told her it wasn't working, that we wanted different things, that she deserved someone who could truly commit. All lies. And she'd looked at me with those eyes, those same eyes now mirrored in a 3-year-old's face, and said, "You're making a mistake, Adrian. You're choosing fear over love." She'd been right. 2 weeks later, I tried to call, to apologize, to explain. Her number was disconnected, her apartment empty. She'd vanished as completely as I would 6 months later. I'd searched for a while, but then the company consumed me again. The deals, the mergers, the endless chase for more. I'd convinced myself she was better off without me. But now, like my dad, the child, Lily, had called me her father. And Elena had shown me that picture. What picture? I had to know. Over the next 3 days, I followed them. Not closely, not dangerously, just enough to understand their lives. They lived in a 3rd-floor walk-up in a neighborhood I'd once condemned as urban blight in a city council meeting. Elena worked 2 jobs, morning shifts at a diner, evening shifts cleaning office buildings. Lily went to a community daycare that looked barely functional. And every night, through their window, I watched Elena tuck Lily into bed, reading stories by lamplight, both of them pretending their world wasn't falling apart. On the 4th day, I saw the threat. A black sedan. Too clean for this neighborhood. It parked outside their building every afternoon at 3 p.m. A man in an expensive suit would emerge, watch their window, take notes, then leave. Corporate surveillance. My stomach turned to acid. Marcus had found them. That night, I broke my own rule. I knocked on their door. Elena opened it, saw me, and tried to slam it shut, but I was faster. Not aggressive, just desperate. "Please," I whispered, "they're watching you, black sedan, every day at 3. You and Lily are in danger." Her face went white. Who are you?" "You know who I am." "No," she shook her head violently. "Adrian Krause is dead, or in prison, or I don't know, but he's not a homeless man covered in—" "Your daughter has his eyes," I said quietly. "She has his mother's eyes, my mother's eyes. That's not a coincidence, Elena." Her hand flew to her mouth. Behind her, Lily appeared in pink pajamas, rubbing sleep from her eyes. When she saw me, her entire face lit up like sunrise. "Dad!" She ran toward me. Elena tried to catch her, but Lily was already wrapping her small arms around my filthy leg, squeezing tight, real, solid. "I knew you would come back," Lily whispered. "Mama said you were in heaven, but I knew you were just lost. I knew it." I looked at Elena. Heaven? Tears streamed down her face. What was I supposed to tell her? That her father abandoned us? That he chose money over his own child? I didn't know. My voice broke. Elena, I swear on everything I am, I didn't know about her. How could you not know? I tried to tell you. I called, I went to your office, I sent letters. When? 3 months after you ended things, when I found out I was pregnant. 3 months after. Right when Marcus had been promoted to VP. Right when he'd taken control of my communications. He blocked you, I breathed. My brother. He must have intercepted everything. Why would he do that? Because he wanted everything I had. The company, the empire, and a secret child, a potential heir, would have complicated his plans. Elena stared at me, processing. Then her expression hardened. Get out. Elena, get out! Her voice cracked with fury and pain. For 3 years, Adrian, 3 years! I raised her alone. I worked myself to exhaustion. I went to food banks and free clinics and government offices where they treated me like garbage. And you? You had billions. You could have helped with one phone call, one check. But you were too busy playing business games to care about your own child. I lost everything, I said. They framed me. They stole my company, my identity, my life. I've been on the streets for 6 months because if I surface, I go to prison for crimes I didn't commit. Lies. But her voice wavered. The man watching your building, he works for Marcus. He's not here by accident. They know about Lily. And if they know she's leverage, they'll use her to ensure I never resurface with the truth. Elena's face went from angry to terrified. What are you saying? I'm saying they'll take her from you if they think it serves their purpose. Lily squeezed my leg tighter. Don't let the bad men take me, Dad. I knelt down, ignoring the stench of my own body, and looked into my daughter's eyes for the first time with truth between us. I won't, I promised. I won't let anyone hurt you, ever. Elena let me in. Not because she trusted me, because she was terrified. I sat at their small kitchen table, so different from the mahogany conference tables I'd commanded, while Elena made tea with shaking hands. Lily refused to leave my side, curled up in my lap like she'd been doing it her whole life. Show me the picture, I said softly. Elena hesitated, then retrieved a photograph from a drawer. It was old, creased from being handled too many times. In it, I stood at that charity gala, smiling, young, arrogant, everything I'd been before the fall. I kept one photo, Elena whispered. I told her stories about you, made you a hero because I didn't want her to grow up hating her father. And every night, she'd kiss your picture and say goodnight to Dad in heaven. The weight of that crushed me. I'm sorry, I said, for everything. For being a coward 3 years ago, for not fighting harder to find you, for not being there. Sorry doesn't pay rent. Sorry doesn't feed a child. I know. Lily looked up at me. Are you really my dad? Like, for real? Not heaven? Yes, sweetheart, I'm really your dad. Then why are you so dirty? Honest. Children are brutally honest. Because sometimes grown-ups have to hide from bad people. And the best way to hide is to become someone those bad people would never look at twice. That's smart, Lily said seriously. Like a superhero disguise. Exactly like that. Elena sat down across from me. What do we do now? We prove the truth. I have evidence. Hidden, encrypted, stored in a place Marcus doesn't know about. Bank records, emails, security footage, everything needed to prove he framed me. But to access it, I need to get into my old office. That's impossible. They'll arrest you on sight. Not if I have leverage. What leverage? I looked at her steadily. You, Lily. Living proof that Adrian Cross has an heir. Marcus spent 3 years ensuring that secret stayed buried. If it becomes public, if I hold a press conference with my daughter by my side, his entire narrative collapses. The board will have questions. Investigators will look closer. His house of cards falls. You want to use our daughter as bait? Elena's voice was ice. I want to use her as truth. There's a difference. Not to me. Then what do you suggest? We wait until Marcus decides Lily is a problem? Until she disappears into foster care or worse? He's already watching. He's already planning. The only weapon we have is exposure. Silence. Then Lily spoke, her small voice cutting through everything. I want to help Dad. He's been lost and now he's found. That's what happens in stories. The lost person comes home and everyone helps them. Elena closed her eyes. She's 3 years old, Adrian. She doesn't understand what you're asking. She understands better than you think. The next morning, the black sedan didn't appear at 3 p.m. It appeared at noon. 3 men got out. 2 I didn't recognize, corporate security types. The third made my blood run cold. Marcus. He looked exactly as I remembered. Sharp suit, styled hair, that same confident smile that had convinced our father to trust him, the board to follow him, the world to believe him. He walked into the building. They're coming, I said, grabbing Elena's hand. We need to leave, now. Where? Somewhere public, somewhere they can't make us disappear quietly. We ran. Elena carried Lily. I grabbed what few valuables they had, mostly paperwork and photos. We took the fire escape, emerging into an alley as I heard heavy footsteps pounding up the interior stairs. The diner, Elena gasped. Where I work. It's always crowded. Witnesses. We ran through rain-soaked streets, 3 ghosts fleeing a monster in an expensive suit. The diner was bright, warm, filled with the lunch crowd. We burst inside, dripping wet, and every head turned, but in a neighborhood like this, desperation was common. People turned back to their meals. Elena's boss, a large woman named Rita, took one look at us and understood something was wrong. Back booth, she said simply. I'll bring coffee. We collapsed into the corner booth. Lily was crying now, scared by the running and the fear in her mother's eyes. It's okay, baby, Elena whispered. It's okay. But it wasn't. My phone, a burner I'd bought with cash, buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. Adrian, Marcus's voice, smooth as poison. We should talk. About how you destroyed my life? About how we can all walk away from this intact, you, Elena, and that precious little girl. My hand tightened around the phone. If you touch them, I don't need to touch them, brother. I just need to make a few calls. Child Protective Services, anonymous tip about an unfit mother, drug use, neglect, dangerous living conditions. They investigate, find just enough to justify removal, and suddenly little Lily is in the system. These things happen to poor people all the time. Tragic, really. You're a monster. I'm a realist. You have something I want. Silence. Permanent silence. In exchange, I'll ensure Elena and Lily are taken care of. Trust fund, house, security. They'll want for nothing. Except the truth? The truth is expensive, Adrian. It costs careers, families, futures. Is your pride worth your daughter's childhood? I looked at Lily, her small face pressed against her mother's shoulder. I need time to think. You have 2 hours, then I make the calls. He hung up. What did he want? Elena asked. To buy my silence with your safety. That's good, right? He'll leave us alone? You believe that? She didn't answer. I ran my hands through my filthy hair, thinking. Marcus held all the cards. Money, power, legitimacy. I had nothing but truth, and truth without evidence was just noise. Unless... The storage unit, I said suddenly. I rented a storage unit when I first went underground. Paid 5 years in advance with cash. It has a safety deposit box inside. Old school, physical key. I kept backups of everything there.
Emails, bank transfers, the real financial records before Marcus altered them. Everything. Then let's go get it. It's not that simple. The facility requires ID to access. The moment I show my face with identification, Marcus will know. His people are monitoring everything. So we're trapped. Rita appeared with coffee and, surprisingly, a laptop. "You look like you need this more than the Wi-Fi leeches," she said, nodding towards some teenagers in the corner. An idea sparked. "Elena, does your phone have a camera?" "Yes." "Why?" "I need you to film something. A confession. My story. Everything that happened. Then we upload it to every social media platform, every news outlet, everywhere. We flood the internet with the truth before Marcus can spin the narrative." "That's suicide. They'll arrest you immediately." "Maybe. But once it's public, Marcus can't make me quietly disappear. The story becomes bigger than both of us. Public scrutiny protects better than silence." "You're serious?" "I'm out of options." Lily tugged my sleeve. "Can I be in the video so everyone knows you're my dad?" Elena's breath caught. "Lily, no!" "Yes," I said. "Elena, she's the proof. She's living evidence that Adrian Cross existed beyond the corporate narrative, that he had a life, a daughter, a reason to fight. Let the world see us together." "They'll tear her apart. The media, the trolls, everyone."
Or they'll see what I see, a man fighting for his child. That's a story people understand. Rita cleared her throat. For what it's worth, I believe him. I've watched Elena work herself to death for 3 years. If there's a chance this man can help her, take it. Elena looked between us, Rita, me, Lily, then at her daughter's hopeful eyes. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay." We filmed it right there in the booth. Elena held the phone steady while I spoke directly to the camera, Lily perched on my lap. I told everything, the betrayal, the frame-up, the disappearance, finding Elena and Lily, Marcus's threats. I showed documents I'd photographed before going underground. I named names, gave specifics, and Lily, bless her innocent heart, looked into the camera and said, "This is my dad. He's been lost, but now he's found. Please help him come home." 15 minutes. That's all it took to dismantle my brother's empire. We uploaded it to YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, TikTok, everywhere. Within 20 minutes, shares started appearing. Within an hour, it was trending. Within 2 hours, news vans were showing up outside the diner. My phone exploded with calls. News outlets, lawyers, former colleagues, people who'd believed I was a criminal, suddenly questioning everything. And then, one call that mattered. "Mr. Cross?" A woman's voice, professional, serious. "This is Agent Sarah Chen with the FBI's Financial Crimes Division. We've been investigating Cross Industries for securities fraud. Your video corroborates evidence we've been gathering. We'd like to bring you in for protection and debriefing." Protection. Not arrest. Protection. What about Elena and Lily? "They'll be protected as well. Full security detail until we can verify the threats and make arrests." I looked at Elena. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Okay," I said. "We're at Rita's Diner on 4th Street. FBI is en route. Stay inside, stay visible, stay safe." They came with flashing lights and authority. Agents swept the diner, secured the perimeter, and escorted us to armored vehicles while cameras rolled and reporters shouted questions. It felt surreal, being treated like a victim instead of a criminal after months of living as society's invisible. Marcus was arrested 4 hours later at Cross Industries. The news showed him being perp-walked out of my old building, photographers capturing his fury and disbelief. David Chen was arrested at his home. 17 other executives and board members were brought in for questioning. The FBI had been building a case for months, but my video provided the missing piece: personal testimony from the victim himself, plus a daughter no one knew existed. It made the story human, real, prosecutable. 3 months later,
I stood in a courtroom wearing a suit that fit, clean-shaven, looking like Adrian Cross again, but different, humbler, more real. Marcus was convicted on 14 counts of fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy. David Chen took a plea deal and testified against him. The empire my family built was dismantled, assets frozen, awaiting distribution to defrauded investors. I didn't want it back. Elena sat in the gallery, holding Lily. My daughter wore a blue dress and watched everything with wide, curious eyes. After the verdict, the judge addressed me directly. Mr. Cross, I'm dismissing all charges against you with prejudice. The court apologizes for the miscarriage of justice you endured. Your civil suits against the individuals involved will proceed separately. I nodded. Thank you, Your Honor. If I may, the judge leaned forward. I've reviewed your case extensively. What strikes me most isn't the financial crimes, but the human cost. You lost 6 months of your daughter's life. That's time you can never recover. I know. Don't waste any more time. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. I gave a brief statement about justice and truth, then pushed through to where Elena and Lily waited by a car. Ready? Elena asked. Where are we going?
Remember how you used to talk about opening a community center, helping people who'd fallen through the cracks? That was a dream from another life. Maybe it's time to make it real. You have settlement money coming. I have ideas. Lily needs to see her father do something meaningful. I looked at my daughter. What do you think, Lily? Should Dad help people? Yes, she said firmly. Like people helped us. That's what families do. Families. Such a simple word, but for so long I'd been alone, even when surrounded by employees and wealth. Now I had something real, messy, complicated, perfect. Okay, I said, let's build something together. Elena smiled, the first genuine smile I'd seen since finding her again. Together sounds good. 1 year later, the Cross Family Community Center opened in the neighborhood where I'd hidden as a beggar. It provided job training, childcare, meals, and housing assistance. The very services Elena and Lily had needed but couldn't access. At the ribbon-cutting ceremony, I stood with my daughter on one side and Elena on the other. We weren't married, not yet. Trust takes time to rebuild. But we were family, real family. Lily grabbed the microphone, surprising everyone. My dad was lost, she announced to the crowd. He was very, very lost. But we found him, and now he helps other people not be lost anymore. That's what dads do. The crowd erupted in applause. Rita was there, beaming. Agent Chen attended, now a friend. Former colleagues who'd supported me during the investigation came. Even a few people I'd helped during my months on the streets, they'd recognized me from the news and wanted to thank the beggar who'd shared his last sandwich. Marcus wrote me from prison, a long letter full of excuses and justifications, and eventually, buried in the final paragraph, something that might have been remorse. I read it once, then filed it away. Forgiveness was a process, not a moment. That night, after the ceremony, I tucked Lily into bed in our modest but comfortable apartment. Not a penthouse, not a mansion, just home. Dad, she whispered, are you happy now? Yes, sweetheart, I'm very happy. Even without all the money? Especially without all the money. I learned something important on the streets. The richest people aren't the ones with full bank accounts. They're the ones with full hearts. My heart is full of you, Lily said, hugging me tight. Mine too, baby. Mine too. Elena stood in the doorway watching us. When Lily fell asleep, Elena took my hand and led me to the small balcony overlooking the city lights. You know what I think about most, she said quietly. That day in the rain when Lily called you Dad. I was terrified, angry, confused, but also hopeful. Like maybe, impossibly, you'd come back to us. I never really left. I was just lost for a while. Are you found now? I pulled her close, breathing in the reality of her, the warmth and truth of this moment. Yes, I'm home. The city stretched before us. Millions of lights, millions of lives, millions of stories. Once I'd tried to conquer this city from the top down, accumulating power and wealth as measures of success. Now I understood. Real success was measured in smaller things: a daughter's laugh, a partner's trust, a community built together, purpose beyond profit. I'd been a millionaire playing at life. Now I was a man living it.